Hear ye. Welcome to Dynasty the Podcast show. This is show 8. This is show 23. It's a big number. We're gonna have a great show. About to set up the Instagram live real quick, so work with me. I really today would have been actually more organized and more, just put together like normal. Like all my shows basically is the same structure every day. We speak on politics mostly in this show because I feel like that's the most important thing. We speak on community mostly. I feel like that's the most important thing. I don't really need, I like to come in a few hours early and do my notes, and it's not a big scale show yet, so I don't like to stream myself as far as trying to find a story, but it's so much information out there. As you're gonna get grade A opinions, and gonna get the most up to date information. And today we calling the show Elite Information. And I spelled the way I spell it. I'm just gonna tell a quick story because I had whatever vision, dream, or whatever it was yesterday, and this is based off just where I come from, like me as a coach, me as a mentor. When I first started off, not just these group of kids, but children, but they young men now, and I came in like these people are basically my peer. They're the same age as me. They probably at most they're 3-4 years under me. At best, they like 1 year under me. So someone might be the same age. You never know, depending on how old they was when I stepped on campus at Forest Hill High School. But I always speak on these things because I have my own family first and foremost. So I'm not agreeing with nothing they've done in their life. If they have the same, vision and mindset that I do, or this way of this family, I'm all for it, and I will never deny them. See that to these kids, these grown men now know who I am and know why I'm still speaking like this, because it's always a cycling change of another group of youth coming back behind them. So, that's what the elite part come from. I get the elite part because the term "no days off" was very big back, when they first started saying it. They probably said it before us when I was coaching and stuff, but it came back in style around the time I started coaching. And you have to actually work to become elite. Most people have talent. Most people are born with these gifts and stuff like that, but it takes consistency to actually be considered elite. It takes consistency, and the way I started off as a coach, you see, I'm putting show every day now. I'm making sure I have time to put at least a 30-minute to hour show every day. And this today it was like, I woke up, it was a lot of stuff, I know my mind is very clear, so I'm gonna get a lot of, information just when I sleep. It's when I'm, and the stuff that I'm putting out is, I'm seeing the top politicians and speakers and people who are in media saying the same thing that I said days before. So I'm glad the information is getting out there properly. I actually expected that to happen. So this is not my first time putting in publicly, live, whatever video. Definitely in the sports world, I ain't never, I know that information gonna get to the robots that's talking on the ESPN. I hit Disney yesterday. No, because I don't want to stop no kind of form, no future income. But I'll be thinking about, like, I've been in Florida my whole life, so it's not nothing that they can get over me. You can't bring somebody from, the East Coast or the West Coast to come and take my position in Florida or in Alabama or Georgia, wherever in the South, my people reign. And so reign meaning, supreme, like the top. So it's not it ain't, and, a lot of people in my family are, already ascended in it, it's not like I'm not gonna never have that energy of my presence of, you're gonna feel like it's me here, even if it's somebody that's my family. So it's I'm accepting being an adult now, so I don't expect things to just go my way. So, moving on, I could try to keep my intro to 5 minutes. I don't want to over talk, just going on and on. But, I'm thankful, I'm grateful, I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy to, I didn't even start the live yet, so I'm not gonna do a live today for Instagram, but it's gonna be on YouTube. It's on a platform. And so that's pretty much it. I look at it stuff like, I'm gonna start it. I ain't gonna not put it on there. It's actually a form that I could. It's just gonna be. They missed my intro. I ain't going back over that. Everything's off the dome. I don't. My intro is like notes. Like, don't forget to say you're thankful and grateful. The day's topic, and the story that I just told about why I call and I spell it EL. I can't tell you why I spell it like that, but it's something that my mom taught me about. Basically marketing. And what she learned from the industry is like, I probably said it before. I got a couple stuff on Spotify and stuff, so it's not too much stuff. I actually don't want to tell everybody that information because people hate still. They want to trademark my social. That's how real it is right now. But we're gonna start. We're gonna get it started. Let me turn the light on. But yeah, like I was saying, the intro a little bit longer today, but we're gonna start and I'm gonna just make sure everybody understand that Dynasty the show 23. And I don't think people like actually trying to watch. Some people, the way that is, people hate on me is from like I tell you, it's from the top. So it could be people on Facebook people, it could be Instagram people, it could be people controlling these blue checks that don't want me to be considered an influence. They locked me out of, my Coach Golden Glory when it can't even sign into my original Facebook. So hey, it is what it is. I'm about to get on that Twitch stream so I can make some income. Try to get my TikTok set up so I can do the live on there, so I can get some like money from this and see how that goes. I don't have an assistant or nothing like that, so I don't want nobody. People want to do world news about what they done happened to them. Just me talking, it ain't no this, how that go. I'm just happy that the people who fought for my age group are getting notoriety, or getting, it ain't they time to be in the middle of like some old street war of respect and trying to get they maintain they stuff that they earned as performers and stuff like that. I seen like I said, NBA YoungBoy, they got party, and then I seen YG come out and tell his story from a very deep and vulnerable spot. I didn't read it or listen to it. It's just a clip that came up. So no, I don't want people to think. I think that's brave with people who have such tough images and getting help from superior authority. So supposedly superior authority. I don't, high powered media, the president, or the cabinet, or whoever got control of that stuff. So then we're gonna start from there. I don't know. It's Mike. I'm on now. Welcome, Dynasty the Show podcast show. I'm your host, Ira Bush. Welcome to whoever watching on Instagram. But we've been on for about 10 minutes now. So welcome to those people who gonna watch on Instagram. Now, today's topic. We go right into the policy. I'm gonna read y'all a few stories. I'm gonna actually give credit to these people because it's probably the first one I watched or listened to. I'm gonna just read it. It said Senator. This is the reason why I'm doing it like this is I'm not gonna play. I might play a video, I might not play, but I'm gonna try to read most of the stuff today. Senator Elizabeth Warren sides with Trump's and calls to eliminate debt limit should be scrapped. Now, this story was by Landon Mayan. I'm saying it right. This is a story from Fox Business. You know, whoever over there, that's the person who wrote this. I'm gonna read it. Basically, a lot has went on yesterday. The they passed the Senate. I think it was the Senate passed the bill 63 for the what Trump called the big beautiful bill. There's still the judges and the high powered attorneys, people on the Democratic side are gonna still battle this guy for, just all the tax cuts. And I'm gonna read one person said that, basically he want everybody to die. So I gotta read that one to y'all. But I just look at it like, the world is still changing, the world is still spinning. I actually understand from a standpoint of being the youth, why he's actually doing this, but he's not helping the people that need help. He's only helping the people who feel like they have to spend some money. You know what I'm trying to say? And the money they don't want to spend money on food stamps. They don't want to spend money on paying for people medical bills, and they don't want to spend money on, they call themselves putting money into small businesses. Now, when he was first in office, that was when COVID happened. And it was coming, he was coming out of his first term. That's why he lost the term, because COVID happened. But he's not realizing that these people, the system has been in place, so he's not really understanding the layers. So you got this, we're all, I talked about him wanting white people. Literally, he attacked the people in Chicago and told them they have too many people in their far as their state, those city state areas that they're hiring or appointing too many blacks, and it's a problem for him. But he's not realizing this is the people who are properly going with the system that y'all put in. Y'all don't have enough intelligent, intellectual people to help properly. So they put the right people in place. They're getting the right people, like Larry Hoover is getting his just due, or how all that stuff happened in Chicago. I think Dirk got, I seen him get his bail, all these people from his home area helping him out, making sure everything, I won't say helping him because he probably have it, but they gotta get the assets, they gotta get the money, then they gotta get, they want a piece of his music probably and all that high level stuff. They had his dad in prison for 20 years. You know how that went, like, all this, but they got his stuff in order. So they're getting them, all these people getting organized and make sure the right people who properly are working after the youth, because it's still competition when it comes to adults. So no, I'm not denying that the way they got their position, they had to fight for it. That's not that's what they talked about in their music. And then I don't want to get off topic. So now when it comes to now you go to these white high society, supposedly white high society people, their issues is like just staying in control of a whole bunch of black and brown people. Like, we're still, they want to call us the minority, but we're only the minority in America, and we still have the better intellectual, we still have the better athletic, and then you got to include all these energy soldiers. That's what I call them. They just want this energy from us and the melanin from us. They kill and steal from us. They put us, get our social security. They steal it. We born. They get our social. They out here committing treason and fraud, all in different types of countries. And it's very, very, selling people on the black market without us knowing. All this stuff has happened in my personal life. And I won't say I indulge, but it's like I put the information out there just so people understand that I'm not even intimidated really by that. I'm a little agitated, a little aggravated, I do have a career that I want to kind of still do, which is, do what I've been doing that I picked at a young age. And people say I speak like this. It's not like I'm trying to go after anybody specifically. I'm speaking like this because I'm like, why y'all shying away from it? Why not just stand on what it is? Why not change the whole system completely? Like I said, you don't have to start me off from zero. You don't have to hide the fact that I know I'm supposed to be able to tap into resources that has been given to the government. Just tapping in, me applying to get a facility. I should have to go through 5 different realms just to be able to get my own facility, be able to establish my own apparel business, just like I don't want to go through 5 different loops. I don't need to keep getting taxed and overlooked or blackballed from people watching or getting noticed and promoted, whatever they calling it. I don't feel like doing it. I did all the footwork when I was young. Like I said, I'm inspired by, being around these certain things. And then when it comes to high level slander, it's been going on in my family for so long. I ain't fighting that. I'm like, you either got to sit around us just even, I would never sit up here and combat the whole world. And like, not even the world. The United States is mostly the problem. Like, and every state got their own way of toting this token black person out to try to calm down the rest of the black people. And it's like people actually accept that job. I just be surprised that they accept the job. I'm like, why not just start something with the people, your people? You know what I'm saying? Why not? That's the most confusing thing to me. It's like, cause I remember when, like, I just remember after Stuart Scott, I'm just telling the story how it goes. I remember after Stuart Scott got sick, and then he started missing shows, and then they had to find somebody to come in for him. And then when he passed away, it got even worse. And then I just remember, I talk about this all the time. Like when they first, I'm not giving him no, because he does a horrible job of really supporting black men on camera. He does a horrible job. Stephen A. Smith does a horrible job. He don't know how to pick a real side to stand on as a black man for the blacks and the brown people who support him. Because I just remember they gave him a lot of, he got his own separate show, but he dissed so many people. It's like, why? Like, why go to that point? So I'd be confused. But just for me getting inspired by what he did in the beginning of his career was, he did a lot in Philadelphia when he did a lot of stories on, Allen Iverson. I remember these tuck because he had inside, that was probably which call his, guy that he spoke to in the media. And he did a lot of stuff. I just remember watching the playoff time, going down, I'm on the East Coast, I'm on the Southeast. So all these stuff, Tracy McGrady, and then, Kobe was so big, Shaq was so big, all these stories coming out. It was very high level. Vince in Toronto, all these people was getting talked about every day, daily. Every show, every pregame, and he wasn't. I don't even think he was on ESPN every time. But then when he got an ESPN, he had his own show, the trivia, which is knowledge of the sports, knowledge of the game. And I always talk about the hardwood classic games and stuff I used to watch all the time. It was very high level. They don't even put that stuff out. I know they got ESPN. You got to have every show. They probably still put the 30 for 30s out. They don't show it all the time no more. And all those stories that they put out was, very high level. But, I was inspired by, that was the generation I grew up as a child, them showing this stuff all the time. So now they just got these generic, even with, when they had the hour with Jamel Hill and Mike, those stuff was organic when they was speaking you talking at dinner with your family. That's how the type of information, you get a laugh out of it. And, it was high level, them knowing these people firsthand, talking to them before the show. And these people, but these people not there no more, and they might be doing other stuff in media that's higher, higher level. Like I speak on politics all the time. And I know I'm off a little bit, but it's Saturday. So be mindful of that. I'm just giving you some information on how, why, I like sports. The way I was taught, I was already writing reports in third grade on sports. So I read the St. Petersburg Times. Rest in peace to the St. Petersburg Times. That's still one of the best newspapers ever written. And I made the paper. I didn't put my name in it, but you don't need to put my name in it. You already know what it was. When me and my running back made the paper my senior year as a lineman. I was O lineman now. Senior year, first week, and I want to say we played. I think we played Dixie Hollis. We won though. I had a couple down blocks. I had probably one pancake. Second level blocks. I was on it. I had a great game. That was one of my best games of my career. My first game of senior year. But I had got a sprained ankle like second week of the year. I still had a pretty good year. I only played 6 games. I did not like my coach at all. He was one of them. Ooh, I can't say it. I didn't understand how coaches have favoritism. It was like, why have favoritism? We're on the team. And I was one of the better players. So I'm looking like, he wouldn't let me play defense in my senior year. I was like, what? I'm like really on there. Like, but I'm a team player, so I didn't complain. I had to show real like leadership, like, cause the way it went down was funny. I didn't really mind. I was just ready to graduate high school, and I was ready to coach. So it was like, all right, y'all want to hate on me about that? I wouldn't get, I'm undersized O-line, D-line. So I just laughed about having fun. I know my technique was on point, and my knowledge of the game had been on point, so it wasn't a big deal. I had a good time doing it. And I wouldn't be who I am if I still was trying to play sports and stuff at that time. Like I went right into what it is. Now let's talk about these stories, political stories, man. Like I said, they voted on the bill. People gonna, I look at it like this. What are you gonna spend the money on? So we're gonna see what they do with this money. They got so much, and then I don't even really want to read some of this stuff. It's out there though. All right, Senator Elizabeth Warren, Democrat from Massachusetts, said Friday she agrees with President Donald Trump's call to eliminate the debt limit, urging bipartisan action to scrap it permanently. In a post on Twitter, Warren wrote, "Real Donald Trump, I agree. The debt limit should be scrapped to prevent economic catastrophe. Let's pass a bipartisan bill, and get rid of it forever," she added. The senator also said jacking up the debt limit by $4 trillion and fund more tax breaks for billionaires is an outrage, an attack on the GOP-backed tax bill to enact Trump's priorities. Warren's post cited comments Trump made at the news conference earlier Friday when he referenced her supporting her eliminating the debt limit and said he's always agreed with her on the issue. She wanted to see if they terminated gotten rid of not being voted on every 5 years or 10 years. And the reason was because it's catastrophic for our country, Trump said. Y'all check out my I got a Facebook poem page. It's Ira Thomas Bush, poems by Ira Thomas Bush IV. It's a good one on there that I did like a acrostic poem, and the word was catastrophic. So see, they like to use the words that I've been used. So hey, I'm not mad. At least they know what the word means. And I did a spin. It wasn't nothing like evil or nothing. It was just a spin on the word, the opposite of what the word means. And just put some, what it is, how I was feeling at the time. You know what a poem is. So I'm gonna get back. I ain't gonna tell you what I really gonna do with this media and just me speaking. It's like it's all gonna come to fruition for me. And like I said, I gotta provide for my family. So, all it is just to build up. And it's like, it ain't fake, it's organic. So it's not going to be like I'm doing it for, but everybody has to make a honest living. So, it's all right. Now you're getting a lot of free information, a lot of free game, a lot of free inspiration from me. So That's all it is right now. Hopefully everybody wake up and get motivated, get back in the competition mode. You gotta realize at the age in your 20s and 30s, you really are like on some figuring it out. When I say figuring out, meaning financially, even if you obtain a lot, you still have to know how to keep it and keep it on the uprise. Or if you get to a point where you at the ceiling and you want to actually save and branch off, if you in your 30s and you figured it out on that side, you cannot. It's very rare that you are able to sustain. If you did everything on fraud and lying, you're not gonna sustain that money and wealth. So I know what I'm supposed to, do, protect and maintain that on that minimum. Make sure everybody is alive and well. Like that's the minimum. And that at the high level they went a little crazy. So we got to get, I think this is starting to formulate properly. But yeah, let's continue what they said. The debt limit was last suspended by Congress in the summer of 2023 as a part of a bipartisan bill reached between the Republican leadership and former President Joe Biden, pushing the threat of national default through January of this year when the debt was reinstated more than $36 trillion. The Treasury Department said January that the government will need to implement extraordinary measures to prevent it from defaulting on its debts. Earlier this month, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent called the Congress and raised the debt ceiling to mid-July to prevent the government from defaulting, warning the country on the track to run out of money and pay its bills as early as August without congressional action. A failure to suspend or increase the debt limit would wreak havoc on our financial system and diminish America's security and global leadership position, Bessent wrote in the House Speaker's Mike Johnson's Republican from Louisiana. Prior to episodes have shown that waiting until the last minute to suspend or increase the debt limit can have serious adverse consequences for financial markets, businesses, and federal government. Republicans want to raise the debt ceiling as a part of a broader package, but the intra-party debate remains over issues such as tax changes. Now, like they were just saying, everybody not agreeing with everything, so it's a little bit of an issue. And I don't have. Oh, I didn't know. I don't have. When they talk debt, they don't really give. You gotta have like 750 to 800 to 900 credit just for blacks to even get a look at trying to get credit in America. That ain't happening. Or you got to be married and you got to have this high, rate of, paying it back. And it's literally based off the skin color. So that's the stuff, I'm looking at it like it's like they don't cause so much issue. Do you realize that when America was formed, it was formed off of, not right when it, but slavery, they used us, boom, they put a black person up there here. How much you want from this person? They made money like this, and they still making money like this. It's such and it's like I don't know how to explain that we still kind of in a entrapment with these people who think they have control over our mind and our body, and it's so blatant. And it's like once you break through and you know that they're doing that, it's like what you want me to do? You want me to fight the whole white race? What you want? What you got really going on? So, I mean, you can either take the information and run with it. Hopefully, everybody has it sold out completely. But I'm just some of this stuff. I'd be like, and then you'd be like, you think you breaking through? You think you moving in the correct way? Then boom, you got 10,000 more haters. Like, come on, man. Hey, dang, I ain't even left America yet. Let me leave America. Then you start talking now. You know what I'm saying? Let me attain some kind of dignity of what I actually accomplished here. Like let me get my trophy and let me get to a certain let me raise my children that I had here first. You know what I'm talking about? Like it got so much going on and so much straw man story. Like I said, this I won't call this really a straw man story. I'm gonna read the one with the they passed. I'm gonna read the one where they passed the bill that threats to force the court's ruling of Trump. Is that the one that I wanted to read? It's pretty much the same. I really don't care. It's about the same for all of it. I'm not reading the one about Trump or Elon. I'm not giving them no more energy. They want to keep doing fraud. They got to keep doing it by themselves. Well, I ain't gonna speak too much on. Like I said, I wanted to come off the dome a little bit. Y'all got the gist of what happened yesterday in politics. I think they had a story about China that I wanted to read, but I don't really feel like talking about politics. And I know people get bored; they start turning it off when you start talking about it. But and you might need to go do your own research so you stay on beat. Now, what I did want to speak on is relationships. And me talking about politics, I know people think I might be miserable, but I'm not. One thing I do, okay, let's put it like this. My past relationships, I can honestly say I learned from each relationship I've ever been in. And I haven't been in a lot of relationships. I look at relationships and sex as a big, like, it's a big thing, but it's not a big deal to me, if that makes sense to people. I feel like, I had to protect myself so, my family stay alive and well at the end of the day, especially the children and, people my age. Like if I wasn't paying attention, even at a young age, I felt that way. So now that I have understanding, now that I have real knowledge of sex, now I have real knowledge of relationships, now that I understand that being gay is improper and I've never thought about ever being gay, I won't never be gay. So, I just had to overcome being a youth, a child, a young adult, and gaining information on, what it is and what it ain't. They started the LGBT community stuff back when I was 12 years, like when I was a young person. You see the Mario show, they over there trying to see if you guessing if it's a boy or girl. They okaying all these gimmicks and gadgets of sex change and all that. And I'm not really like going against these people, but they actually committing very high level spiritual treason. They actually messing up their own family tree when they do this kind of spiritual treason, like chopping your thing off if you're a man. That's the craziest thing I ever. You were created as a man. That's what you're supposed to be. So I would never agree with that. So, and then with the way I was raised, you don't even want to know how my grandmother, my mom, both sides, like I wouldn't be alive. And I was just like, so I go. It's just like we ain't going that route, and I just had to sit back because a lot of slander was put on the name, and there's a lot of gay white Irish in the Jewish community, and I ain't in that community. So we had to get everything fixed out. Hopefully 2025 is enough information that I'm Ira Thomas Bush, and this is the Black Native Geechee African descendant. We ain't going to that. We ain't going to that level no more. We ain't competing. We ain't talking. We just gonna put the air information out and keep it moving. And I know they know how to tap in these old fraudulent government platoon, JROTC, fake soldiers, want to tap into the wrong database now. Cause I got real high power grandfathers that, earned their stripes and you gotta respect what it is that they had their orders and they did what they supposed to do. And I'm glad they didn't make me go sign up for it because I ain't really, I respect it on 100%. what it was. But they took a lot of fathers out of the household, separated, when attacked their wives and their kids. And that's the reason why they didn't want us to indulge. We could play sports, but it's still a high level way of recruitment and doing dirty work for America and all this craziness that I could speak on, that I obtained just paying attention. I could write a book, and it's gonna be my theory and my opinions, but it is what it is. The truth is right in your face if you look hard enough and you pay attention good enough. Um, yeah, so I always talk about that stuff, but it ain't like I'm really bragging. It's just like some people want me to like side with them, and I ain't agreeing with it, because that would destroy the tree that my family tree. So I can't really side with people who don't have the right mindset to understand I have to protect my family name, protect my mother in the highest way, and I can't. And if I go out there, purchase one gun, that's one gun. I'm not doing that. That's the stupidest way to die. To not be alive, to go out here and be like on some other stuff. Like, I could show you a better way. It won't be one gun. I can promise you that. So, and then that's only for protection, really. So, I'm speaking on some real stuff, not no me trying to really go at it in a militant way, but you have to have a militant mind, if that makes sense. You have to be disciplined. So, and it's like I'm all for having fun. That's the crazy thing. Like I'm like I'm a full grown adult, so I have to have a set of discipline and rules of just every day get up, do my show every day. Have the mindset to have positive and real structure about what my child life is going to be every day. It's not a one day and not a I'm taking weekend off and be a dummy, crash dummy for the world. No, I'm not doing that. It's every day. I'm on. My child is right now in my head. She got a house. We in the house, and she got her throne, and she got a red carpet walking down it, and she's practicing and doing what she loved to do. And she probably on Roblox chilling right now, but which is not far from what I'm thinking. So it's all like my niece is like chilling at the house, like watching a good movie, like they chilling, like what I'm saying. We ain't stressing, but I want them in a better domain. I want them properly have their funding and, like I said, resources. So, we still working on these things, and it's not fake to me. And yeah, that's pretty much it. How I speak about family is what it is. And when it comes to, I spoke on relationships, I be wanting people, like, I don't want to, like, I ain't gonna say I'm trying to look for people that I've already befriended and be called friends, but I be hoping I can reach into something. I don't even send me like, I ain't saying it like I'm saying it in a joking way, but I be hoping it be like that. I don't want to, the way I have business structured in my mind, I already got stuff laid out for my future. And I be wanting people that I already share my thoughts with to come back around properly. And I don't know, I want you have to marry me or date me, but you know what I'm saying? It's like I already moved on from trying to like really be in a relationship or really date you, but I be wanting to keep my friends. So it doesn't, I don't care if your person is intimidated or not, because it doesn't have to be sexual. It just need to be a community. It need to be like a building of blocks, and hopefully the same energy I put into speaking with you, because this is my speaking is different from your words, and my words are not the same. So you might just was saying stuff when you was around me, which that means your spirit ain't as strong as mine, because I'm still me. I wasn't faking then. I definitely ain't faking now. It's definitely big over here, like when it comes to like what's gonna be happening. So I be laughing about that just from that standpoint. And you know, and when it comes to Florida, it's different. A lot of European Spanish people and Spanish people and brainwashed black people are around, and they go by the way of they don't want to intertwine with people who born in America. They want to have this old silent pick, don't help the people who speak only English and all that kind of that weirdo. I wanted to talk about like telepathic ability and how they obtain it in the government way of with the little, they got their little, I know I don't want people to get weirded out by trying to make it seem like they don't hear the stuff that I hear. They got all these radios. You seen Kill Bill, you seen when they turned the switch on, and you seen them shows that like it's already at that level, but we're not killing each other actually. It's just at that level of like, everybody can hear it. And that's why they sacrifice so many black people, um, just to get their abilities of, to touch base. I won't say they didn't have the ability they self, but to touch base on a worldwide level. They sacrifice a lot of black females and black men with the ability. And I could talk about it. Like I said, they got their little satellites up there trying to control, and all these hieroglyphic, all these, how they they try to woo you. I can't even explain how much energy they don't stole from us, but I just could speak on it. And I just gotta do more research. I gotta travel. So it is. I can't speak too much until I start traveling and move around better. But like I said, relationships, I can't wait to find a woman that is on my level of strength mentally, and you know, and I ain't really talking about spiritual. Like I'm not really in tune with the, I've been in the church. I got baptized when I was 5. I told this before. I try not to repeat these stories, but those stories is like, I'm not getting baptized. My child was crescent at 2. I don't care if she get baptized or not. We already did the little Christian route, and we not evil people at all. So I look at it like you only got to do that stuff one time. And, if you really want to get baptized to go to the beach, that's God out there. Yeah, bro. That put you right under. So, I love the beach and stuff. So I be looking at it like I told y'all, man, it's a tree outside more important than me could possibly. They can't say nothing, but they could do more damage some of it. And I can honestly say like I speak on relationships. Like I want to find somebody sooner than later, so I could bring them around. I always been, I ain't shy to say like I'm not like trying to have like 2 wives or whatever, but I can handle 2 wives for sure. It only gonna be in the decision that, especially the way that America is, the only way I could have that if my first one agree with that. So I ain't no hater. I ain't definitely ain't jealous. I ain't no jealous being at all. So, if you don't pick me, hope you have a great life with the person you pick. You know what I'm saying? Like, I be like, man, you want to join, you want to come be on the league, you just bring your kids. Like, like we want to be a part of come do an interview and promote your stuff. Like, I'm like that. I'm like, I would never hate on another man, a black man, a strong black man. This is part of like, I don't know what to tell them. You gotta be strong to even be around me. So that's the way I was raised. That's the way it is. Now I watched sports yesterday. We're gonna move on. I watched the Atlanta. I fell asleep on the Atlanta and Storm game. I was watching it. It was very interesting. The Storm had the lead in third quarter. I went to sleep. I woke up. They lost. Atlanta's a very tough team. They got real defensive prowess. They lead the league in rebounds. So, and Brittany Garner's a great veteran to have over there with their young team they have. So, that was a good game. I watched that. I think tonight is the Indiana. They playing? They didn't play last night, so yeah. I think tonight is the game 6 for Indiana and the Knicks. I'm gonna check that out, and and it's a UFL game that come on at 3. I might check it out. But people who watching on here, I'm gonna end this live because I'm about to end this live. I gotta wrap it up, but this my phone about to go dead, so I don't want to not save. So thank y'all for listening on Instagram. We did our thing today, put a show out for the people to see. And yeah, that's pretty much it for Instagram. And we're gonna wrap it up on YouTube too. So and now share. I guess not. But yeah, we'll get to that. But yeah, all right. We talked about basketball tonight. WNBA, the UFL game at 3. I got everything situated for my basketball league. We got the start Tuesday. We got tryouts for 3 or 4 days. From the 2nd to the 5th. Me and my nephew gonna do our thing. Summer's here, and we excited about that. We talked about relationships. We talked some politics today, and that's pretty much. I didn't want to talk too much politics. There's a lot going on, man. I don't. They be double talking all the time. This man's flip flopper. when you start telling stuff about what the truth is, you start hearing so many strawberry stories. So I kind of gotta let stuff take it a little bit more serious when I get this information, because there's so many flip flopping politicians. They don't want the truth to really be exposed, or how unorganized and how basically how many, they really going to war with Asia. They keep calling it China, it's Asia. They really slow about this because it's affecting people that actually support, to have people in America and those smaller countries and villages. It's like they going against their own people when they go against China. They keep yelling China, 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 and it's not just China. So, I've been looking at that as being a very big issue. Um, I'm like, I look at it. It's funny to me, and um, I'm just gonna leave it at that today, man. We're gonna keep researching. We're gonna keep going in. We're gonna keep just, having that consistency. I didn't say too much today. I don't think I went in on the government. Like I said, June 10th is the big date for me personally, for when it comes to whatever they call political. I think school board and board is community politics. And I know I chilled out. I meant to call Pinellas County Mayor, because I got people on there that I need to make sure they properly doing things right down there as well. And I chilled out because Broward and Palm Beach don't communicate. They got some old white supremacist set up that they ain't really trying to really hear nobody that's black, and that actually is in the community that want to change. So I ain't really got time for these people over here. They want to stay racist. They want to keep white supremacy in charge of the money and sell out the rest of the people who need help. That's their business. So, and you see, I just seen somebody, police shoot somebody through their car. He jumped on the hood and all that. So hopefully Miami get it cleaned up. They had a little run where they was chilling out over there. So that might have just done crank some stuff back up. That's on them. I know for a fact the people that are in Dade and Broward, in Dade, that's those people. They 30 miles from Bahamas. It's 90 miles from Haiti or whatever. However many miles, they ain't that far away. They can catch a speedboat in a second, and they could be a whole different type of story against the police. And you gonna have to call the U.S. guards, and y'all can run down the wrong path if y'all want to get back to doing a war with these black people who got people not that far away and can be over there training the hoes. We ain't gonna say too much what it is, but get your mind right and you do your job and drive around. You ain't Batman, buddy. You gonna people cars shooting through there. Probably injured that guy pretty bad, but y'all doing too much. It's Florida. We ain't got time for that. So that's pretty much it. Thank y'all for listening. This is Dynasty This Show. I'm your host, Ira Bush. And we'll be back Monday, full stories. And yeah, thank y'all for listening.